Hey Nadia,
Hello.
how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm laughing because we are saying hello to each other as if this is the first time that we recorded today. Actuality, we just recorded a whole episode that I didn't feel like publishing, so here we are again.
Didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right. But we can go back to the topic that we were supposed to talk about last week, which we
Mhm.
didn't because I sidetracked us. and that's basically about like from your perspective, the Filipino-American experience. And I think you have a unique perspective in that, well, different from mine, in that your parents aren't immigrants, but you're still 100% Filipino, like both your parents are Filipino.
Yeah.
Um, Culturally, a little bit of a mixture, as you grew up in the United States and so did your
Yeah.
parents. And you informed me that it's a particular month this month.
It's a AAPI month. It's Asian American Pacific Islander month. Appreciation? I don't know if it's
I think it's
appreciation, if it's
heritage.
just Heritage Month,
Mhm.
which thanks to social media, I was made aware of.
Otherwise, you wouldn't know.
I guess, yeah, I wouldn't know because no one else is where would I find that information from? I guess I would have learned in elementary school. Maybe I did. I don't know.
Maybe you would have learned about it if your school was doing something to celebrate it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Actually, I don't know because it's, summer semester now. There's less things going on, less things happening. So I'm not quite sure. Also, being on co op, I'm kind of detached from like on campus things that are going on. But yeah, I feel like I have a unique perspective, but I also brought it up last week because although my For You page and whatnot might be biased, being Filipino is a little bit of a trend. Not, okay, I don't know if like being Filipino or just like, I don't know if they're laughing with us or at us, but like there's like just it'll be like funny videos that come up where it's like during the fall, it was like, oh, it's Filipino fall. Or like there will be like TikTok trends of, you know, what's it called? The like 2000s like
Oh, bebot?
yeah, Filipino girl styles like that stuff or I don't know. I maybe my For You page is actually extremely biased. Also, I've been sending my sister Lucy a bunch of videos about like people not making fun of, but like imitating their Filipino grandmas and relatives. So it's like all over my For You page. But I feel like my perspective of being Asian American is different than yours because you guys, like you said, you guys grew up here and not in the Philippines. So I feel like a lot of the majority of my childhood and upbringing is like more geared towards like Western culture and like living in America. Like I feel like
Yeah.
if I happen to I was actually just having a conversation with my friend about it the other day. Like if I happen to have happened to go to
Sorry. I
if I
forgot
happen
to.
to go to school in the Philippines, it would be a big culture shock, even though I am full Filipino. I like there are just some things that I didn't grow up doing, I didn't grow up learning, I didn't grow up eating. Like so there's just like big cultural differences, which I think is really interesting. Which
I
is
think it's really inter
why, yeah.
I think it's really interesting that you present, like, physically 100% Filipino,
Mhm.
but then there are a lot of things about Filipino culture that you don't know about because you didn't grow up around it, and
Right.
so, and you were saying, like, I still remember when you first went to Northeastern and you went to a Filipino club meeting, and then they were saying that there was, like, a Taho night, and Taho meaning, like, a certain kind of food that's, like,
Mhm.
dessert, and, like, you're feeling all weird about it because you didn't know what it was because we don't eat it, um
Oh, that's
And
funny. I don't remember that specifically.
oh, yeah, I super remember that because Taho sounds like Tahoe, and, like,
Yeah.
we go to
No, I've
Tahoe a
heard
lot.
it, yeah.
I don't know what Taho is, but I know what Tahoe is what I joke about all the time, but, yeah, I mean, your dad and I just happened to not eat that dessert, so I wouldn't have been that familiar with it either, but do you have this situation where, like, if you don't know something that's Filipino, you're wondering, like, "Uh, am I supposed to know this?" You know?
Yeah, it's also not, like, only that, it's like, well, yeah, am I supposed to know this? Should I have, like, learned about these things? Is it wrong that I haven't learned about these things? I don't know, it's like how not everyone, I guess not people who don't have families who immigrated to America don't necessarily have to think about, like, um, the maybe pressures of, like, trying to also be in touch with your, like, heritage and your culture that's outside of the United States, and also um, like, sometimes I feel a little bit guilty that I don't, like, am not fully in touch with that or, like, don't know as much as, it's, like, a very it's very strange.
I also remember you being in the Philippines and joking that, like, people would speak to you in Tagalog, and you're like, "I'm just a shell."
Yeah,
Like,
like,
don't
I look like it, but I can't but that just because I grew up here doesn't mean that I couldn't have learned how to speak Tagalog. Like, I think I don't know, it was like that's, like, it's honestly a choice on my part not to learn it, so then I, like, feel guilty that,
I mean, it's not
I
totally
can't
your choice.
communicate.
Yeah, when you were younger, you could have been more exposed to it. I mean, obviously, at this point, you can choose to learn it now, but when you were younger, you didn't really have a choice. You were just exposed to whatever you were exposed to, and it's particularly hard for you guys to learn how to speak Tagalog or Filipino because your dad and I don't speak it. So, like, how there's no way, like, we weren't gonna be able to teach it to you or try to
Yeah.
implement that in the house.
I mean, there's
But,
so many resources, but, like, I decided not to.
yeah, well, it's not too late. You can still learn. And just because your parents were not born in the Philippines doesn't mean, like, we could have done more to expose you also. Like, your cousins get exposed to a lot more
Mhm.
Filipino and maybe more specifically Filipino-American culture.
Yeah. But it's not only it's, like, because of the school that they go to and, like, the things that they are put into their curriculum, number 1, but number 2, because, like, there are so many Filipinos that go to their school. I guess their school now. I mean, she'll be there soon. But, like, I definitely didn't grow up around that, like and I lived in the Bay Area, which is saying something, and then now being here in Boston, like, I definitely am not surrounded by that unless I put myself in those, like, situations, i.e., like, the club, but I didn't feel like I could fully be assimilated into that club because, like, there were many reasons, but like outside reasons, but also internally, I just like didn't feel like I belonged with them. Not belonged, but like, could fully connect with them because I don't know. I wasn't used to being around that many, like all these Filipinos who knew so much about being Filipino and like all that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Well, do people even like, when people that you meet in Boston meet you, do they have any idea what your cultural heritage is by the way that you look? Or have
Yeah.
they heard of Filipino culture?
Yeah. I don't know if I can extend to hearing about Filipino culture, but most people have interacted with a Filipino once in their life. I guess like this is not to say that there is no Filipinos in Boston because like there's a lot of Filipinos in like New Jersey and New York, which is all very close. So a lot of people have interacted with Filipinos at some point in their life. So it's like seeing me isn't like, oh, I don't know what you are, but I wouldn't necessarily say that, like, people I feel like we probably get clumped into groups with other Asian Americans, so even though it's a pretty different actually, we get
It's a
grouped into
very
other
distinct.
it's very
Yeah.
distinct, and other Asian Americans can. like, definitely make those lines, but from, like, someone who's not Asian American, we're all just grouped into, like, one group, so, you know.
Yeah. Actually, I just had an experience. Remember when I was in Birmingham, we were
Mhm,
in a taxi
mhm,
and the taxi driver wanted to know where we were from. And then I was like, I'm from San Francisco or
mhm.
whatever. And then he's like, but you all are Chinese, right? And
Yeah.
and I was like, no, actually, our parents are from the Philippines.
Mhm.
And then he was just kind of like mind blown or whatever. I
Confused.
mean, I won't go on about the rest of the conversation because it does not really put him in a good light.
Mhm.
Not that I'm naming names, but yeah, like I thought it was so interesting that he
Yeah.
like looked at us and then just said, "But you guys are Chinese, right?" And then when I tried to clarify,
Yeah.
he didn't quite believe it. He like in his mind, everybody who's Asian is Chinese.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, there's, like, a certain like, I've met a lot of different people, moving to Boston and, like, also traveling around the United States too, where it's that sort of thing just doesn't really cross their mind as much. So everyone's just one group of Asian. But
Yeah.
sometimes that, like, for me can feel, like, nice and comforting, like, I get dinner with, like, my Asian friends sometimes, and not for any, like, reason of being like, "Oh, I only wanna hang out with them," but sometimes it's just, like, nice to, like, be around people that look like you for, like, a sec. I don't know, it feels a little bit selfish sometimes, but then I'm also, like, put in other situations where I'm like, "Wow, I'm, like, really the minority in these situations, so, like, no wonder I want to, like, escape sometimes and feel like a part of something else for a change, but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
definitely a weird scenario in this day and age.
Yeah, especially where you grew up with around a lot of Asian American people, and so to be in a situation where you feel like you're the other one is
Yeah.
kind of interesting, and some people never actually no, I don't wanna assume that nobody other people don't ever have to feel that, but I think there are groups of people that feel like the way that they do things and the way that they
Mhm.
grew up is the, like, standard, it's the
Yeah.
base, and then anything off of that is different or other or not, the standard
Yeah.
norm that we should all
Mhm.
expect. And so that can be frustrating. But I do think
Yeah.
that coming from another culture, like one advantage is that you learn how to be flexible and you don't
Mhm.
go into the world assuming that everybody thinks
Totally.
the same way, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
So you
Think the
have this
same
like
yeah.
way, yeah, you have this way to like switch your like perspective and go like, oh, okay, I get that
Yeah.
somebody has perspective.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like, I could talk on and on about this, but it's definitely something that I'm learning as I grow up, how to navigate things being, Asian American in our society.
Right. And, there's also the burden of being the representative of your culture, not knowing if you're
Totally.
doing, like, the best job or, like,
Yeah.
complete job of being the representative.
And
But
also
there you are
probably
in
not.
Boston
I
representing.
don't know if I'm
Alright.
doing the best job, but, well, I guess we'll see.
A work in progress.
Yeah.
Alright, well, happy AAPI Heritage Month. We can go into a whole other conversation of whether or not we belong to the AA part or
Or
the
the
PI part.
PI, and what part of Asia we are in.
Yeah.
Are we yeah, whatever. Not whatever, but a topic for another day.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright. Nice
Bye,
talking to you, Nadia.
guys.
Bye, everybody.